Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Jeff, aka GCurse here. I hope you're all having a good morning. It is currently 9:12 a.m. on the 24th of August, 2025. It's been an eventful last few weeks, as you know. Recently, I was diagnosed with having a medical condition known as colitis, and I am scheduled to be seen by a doctor pretty soon for a consult. Because of this, I've just been feeling severely under the weather recently. Uh, it doesn't help that right now Washington State is like in the middle of of a heat wave. Basically, yesterday for the last couple days, we've been hitting nearly 100 degrees. Last night, it was pretty hard for me due to the heat, and it is currently. Let me see here. What is it currently? I think it's in the low 60s, possibly. Here, let's find out really quickly, shall we? Do I have a? Oh, I don't. Hold on. It's 69. Oh my God, it's already 69. It's almost 70 degrees. Let's see. So as you can see, it is currently 69 degrees. Let's see here. Extreme heat warning. Hot with a temperature approaching record of 95, which was set in 1988. Today the high is supposed to be 94, so it's going to be about 6 degrees cooler. Let's see here. The air quality is poor due to the heat. It looks like we start hitting 80 at about noon. And then, as you can see here, 94 today, 93 tomorrow. We hit 89 on Tuesday, and then the heat wave kind of ends on Wednesday. So it's been very it's been difficult, I guess you could say. But anyway, so I decided, due to my health concerns right now and work starting up on Wednesday, I'm going to take a little bit of a step back. It doesn't mean I'm going to stop making content. I may make content. Then again, I may not. It's just based on how I'm feeling. But the one thing I am definitely going to take a little bit of a break on for the time being is Unsolved Mysteries Commentary. But do not worry, I am going to be doing more of them. It's just, like I said, I am just wanting to make just to kind of rest up and everything. But this is where you can you can have a voice, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. I like to give people a chance to decide where things go from time to time. So because of that, here, let's do this. Do this, and then I'll do this. You get a chance to vote in the next case I cover on Unsolved Mysteries Commentary. Like I said, this is just going to be kind of temporary. I'm going to just kind of take a little bit of a step back so I can recuperate and everything, because right now I just don't feel that good. But anyway, so here I picked 4 cases, and each of these cases are widely liked when it comes to unsolved mysteries. So I figured, let's pick 4 cases that people would like to see. So here, let's do this. There we go. So we have, like I said, 4 cases. I'm going to kind of go over each of these cases individually, but here's a quick rundown of what you could vote on. The first case that you could vote on is a ghost case. It's the case that I actually really love. It's called the Queen Mary, ladies and gentlemen. The Queen Mary is said to be one of the most haunted ships, I'm guessing, in the United States, possibly. It is permanently moored in California. I think they said Long Beach, California. Let me check my records here. Yep, Long Beach Harbor, California. It is permanently moored there. It is it's like a tourist destination now. This ship suffered numerous deaths during its lifetime because it was originally drafted into the Second World War, if I remember correctly, and it originally had the name of the Gray Ghost, if I remember correctly. But anyway, some of the experiences that people on this ship have encountered, they've encountered sounds that they cannot explain, like say banging on the hull. They cannot explain where that was coming from. One of the workers on the ship, a waitress, I think it was, saw a lady who was sitting at a table. It looked like it literally looks like the ghost was kind of out of place a little bit. I'm sorry if you can hear that in the background. Somebody's doing construction outside. Uh, Another worker who was a waitress, if I remember correct. Oh no, not a waitress. I think it was like a security officer or a security guard or whatever. She was walking around above the pool and she saw a ghost that looked like she was black and white. A person was giving tours, if I remember correctly, said that they saw footprints appearing on the floor next to the pool. I feel that this is a genuine case of a haunting. Now, is this case better, in my opinion, than, let's say, the St. James Hotel, which I think is like the best haunted case ever, or the Tallman House, which is right up there with St. James? No, but it's definitely like within my top five. It's my top five. Up next, we have a missing persons case, the case of Dale Kerstetter. Basically, this guy, he worked at at a glass. I'm guessing like a glass fabrication plant, and he disappeared. But I'll talk about more about that when we get to that case. Do you like cases that revolve around a conspiracy that is tied to a criminal organization? If you do, you may want to vote for the case of Don Devereux, Doug Johnson, and Charles Morgan, aka what I like to call the Octopus Saga. Basically, the Octopus Saga is about people who came across this shadowy, clandestine organization, and two of the people that I named have died. Finally, we have a case in my mind which kind of really just exemplifies humanity's cruelness to each other. I present to you the case of Dave Bocks. Dave Bocks was murdered. Some say it was suicide. I believe it was murdered, or he was murdered. And the reason why is because he could have been a whistleblower. Okay, so we have the case of the Queen Marie. I already kind of spoiled a lot of the information that I wanted to say here. I went off a little bit during the initial part of this video, but anyway, like I said, what we have here is a ship that is very haunted. From front to back, from top to bottom, people have been saying that they've been hearing and seeing things for decades. The ship is currently or permanently moored in Long Beach, California. And I think that this is within the top five Unsolved Mysteries haunted cases. For me, it's like St. James Hotel is number one, but I mean, like right next to St. James, it is the Tallman House. And then I could possibly say, if anything, on a list of five, Queen Mary may be number three, but then again, you got runners up like, say, Black Hope Curse or Black Hope Subdivision. That's a good one. Or I can't recall what the other one was. There was like a farmhouse where a ghost was captured on camera. That's also a good one. Unsolved Mysteries, they had such awesome ghost cases, especially when it came to the first couple seasons of Unsolved Mysteries. Up next, we have the missing persons case of Dale Kerstetter. Dale Kerstetter, he worked at a glass fabrication location, if I remember, if that's the right term to use. He was a security guard. He actually worked as a mechanic. He was even part of the Oh God, I think it was like the he I think he worked in the trade production part of that location also. However, he was, according to his higher ups in HR, basically he was seen as a marginal worker, which is kind of sad because this guy put in a lot of time, working there, only to be seen as marginal. They just basically kind of had a quasi negative view of him. They said that, even though he was slow and that they, viewed him as marginal, he actually did something brave when he prevented people from being hurt when there was a serious incident going on there. However, all of this is kind of incidental when on the last day that Dale Kerstetter worked at his job, he disappeared. At this point, he was working as a security guard, and nobody really knows why he disappeared. However, when security cam footage was located, which you can see right here, showed Dale Kerstetter walking with a person in a ski mask. Furthermore, it was revealed that at the glass factory or glass production, whatever you want to call it, they also produced platinum, which disappeared, which some of the platinum disappeared. So we have a missing security worker, missing platinum, and we have the guy in a ski mask. Some people believe that Dale Kerstetter organized this entire incident. Some think that Dale Kerstetter was ultimately a victim. Ultimately, it's up to you, ladies and gentlemen, to decide what happened to Dale Kerstetter. Up next, we have a conspiracy case, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. I present to you the case of Don Devereux, Doug Johnson, and Charles Morgan. What I like to call the Octopus Saga. Basically, some people were investigating or had ties with criminal element in Arizona, I think it was. And the criminal element was I'm guessing, was partially part of the mob. And when people started investigating this organization, they started dying. Charles Morgan, he was shot in the back of the head while he was wearing a bulletproof vest. The investigators believe that it was suicide, which would make people wonder, well, if it was suicide, why would he go out into the desert with a bulletproof vest on only to shoot himself in the back of the head? Makes no sense, and I agree, it does not make any sense, ladies and gentlemen. Up next, we have Doug Johnson. Doug Johnson was actually could have been considered an innocent victim in all of this because it's believed that Doug Johnson was not the person who was supposed to have died. That the octopus, basically, that they were actually going after not Doug, Don Devereux, which you can see right here in this picture. Don Devereux was a reporter, and basically, it was a mistake hit that happened to Doug Johnson. Is the octopus real? Is it fake? Who knows? But the fact is, two people died because of, due to the mob possibly being involved in some shady work in Arizona. Up next, we have a case that just really goes to show how cruel people can be to each other. I present to you the case of Dave Bocks. Dave Bocks, he worked at a place called NLO. I can't recall what it stands for. Hold on, let me pull up the information. Let's see. NLO. The National Lead of Ohio, or Lead of Ohio. I can't really sure how it's pronounced, but it's referred to as NLO. Basically, NLO was secretly one of the top 3 locations in the United States that worked on plutonium to make a weapons grade. In 1984, NLO released 200 tons of radioactive particles into the air of the community that it was in, And basically, after this happened, the lid was blown off. Then basically everybody knew that NLO was basically producing nuclear products for nuclear weapons, and they even said that NLO was in effect the third largest radioactive dump in the United States. In 1984, during this entire incident, there was a worker named Dave Bocks. He was known as a pipe fitter, I think, and he would, he basically did work and everything around this one. I think it was like a 1,000. It was a 1,050 square foot, campus, I guess you could really call it. Basically, it was a really large area, ladies and gentlemen. And his job was that he would help him work on stuff. On the last day that Dave Bocks reported to work, he disappeared. He disappeared, ladies and gentlemen. They come to find out the next day after Dave Bocks disappeared, a worker was working in one of the furnaces when he started to locate something in the furnace. There was something in the furnace. He originally told his boss that there was something wrong with the furnace, that there was like a little, like a sticky film on the surface of the furnace, and everything. It wasn't until he really got scared that he reported to his boss that he thought he saw something that looked like a human leg inside the furnace. They turned off the furnace, and after it cooled down, they started looking into the furnace after they had to remove all the material. And come to find out, they found glasses, fragments of a radio. When I say glasses, I mean like the frame, eyeglass frame, fragments of a radio. They found 3 oddly connecting circles made out of wire. They found keys, and they found parts of a steel toe for boots. It is believed that Dave Bocks was in that furnace. Now, you got 2 different camps. Officials believe that Dave Bocks committed suicide. I don't believe he committed suicide at all. I think it was murder. And if this case gets voted, I will explain my position of why I think he was murdered. And then there's another camp that believes he was murdered. The sad thing is they believe that if he was murdered, he was actually alive when he was murdered. That he was awake when they lowered him into the furnace itself. One of the people said, "I cannot think of a worse way to die," and I agree. Can you imagine being awake and watching as you're being lowered into this 1,000-degree furnace? Oh God, that would scare the shit out of me. It is currently believed that Dave Bocks, that he may have been killed because he was actually about to become a whistleblower. Apparently, he possibly learned of more stuff that was happening at NLO than the public was made aware of, and he was about to blow the lid off of NLO again. And to prevent any more damage to be done to NLO, they decided to silence him. So those are the 4 cases that you can vote on right now. I'll just do a quick rundown again. We have the case of the Queen Marie. We have the case of Dale Kerstetter. We have the case of the Octopus Saga. And finally, we have the case of Dave Bocks. These are all great cases, in my opinion. And whatever case actually gets voted, it will be a pleasure to do an installment of Unsolved Mysteries Commentary on. As of right now, I currently already posted the poll, and you can see it up there. Somebody already voted, which I do want to say thank you to the person who voted, and I want to say thank you to everybody else who will take time to vote. The vote will go on until September 13th. September 13th, which is just under 3 weeks away now. Once I find out which case got the most votes, I will then do an installment of that case on the following day, September 14th. If the vote ends in a tie, I will do like a runoff, I guess you could really say. I'll do a runoff for like a week. And if it ends up in another tie between the top two or top three or whatever, I will just kind of do like a coin flip or something. I'll do a coin flip to determine what case wins, you know. But that is it, ladies and gentlemen. I guess I'm going to back on out. And I will see you all on the next installment of not Black Site, of Unsolved Mysteries Commentary on September the 14th, which is a Sunday. So I will see you all later. My name is Jeff, aka GCurse. Wishing you all a great day. Stay safe, everybody. Peace out.